r/antiwork. Norris Days 94 says, every job requires a skill set. Included photo. Cremine Fish says, as someone who has worked a lot of unskilled jobs, it takes a lot of skill to be professionally fast and efficient at them. Halasus says, anyone can flip burgers, yeah true, but can you flip burgers at a speed to keep up with the food hour rush while ensuring every single one is cooked through, keeping track of what order they went on the grill in to make sure you are not sending out raw food, working with all other parts to ensure the right number burgers go in the right buns with the right condiments for 40, 50 plus people at the same time, while also pairing them with the other parts of their orders, as well as keeping track of which ones are coming from the drive-thru and have to be prioritized first to make sure cars are not backing up. Shit is a skill. I can flip a burger easily without skill. A burger. A single one. Maybe a maximum of 4 at the same time. But they are all the same. I have time to check each one to make sure they are cooked through, flip them back and forth a few times. Good fast food workers have to know that shit by instinct. Tactophile says, anyone can flip burgers. People who say this should play cook, serve, delicious. I try to be positive says, not to be a thing, but like half of the jobs used in this picture are skilled trades. Quiet Neat 7874 says, and a lot of them have much higher median wages. So definitely not poverty wages. Monkey Panel says, every time this pic gets posted, it loses some pixels. You've encouraged me to finally look at it. I see, farm laborer, custodian / cleaner, waitstaff mason / tiler, shop clerk / cashier, bartender, fabric worker / seamstress. Some kind of industrial cleaning carrot, machine operator in a warehouse or assembly line, carpenter / home builder, delivery rider, barista. Bandanas are not PPE lol. r/antiwork. Thelonolf07 says, my boss passed remarks about my hair during an internal meeting. Hello all. So the other day, an online meeting between me, my boss and a female colleague was going on. My boss asks me to turn on the video, which I normally keep off because of how awfully close it is to my face. If I try to show my complete face, I cannot see the presentation on the screen, so decided it's best to keep it off, because anyways everyone's eyes will be on the presentation and not me. Nevertheless, when he says how many times do I have to remind you to turn the video on, I do so only my forehead is being seen. I have no trouble with that while listening, I adjust when it's my turn to speak. Out of the blue he goes on to say we don't want to see your balding head. I turn the video off without saying anything further. It was a bit of shock to me hearing this and didn't understand how to react. At a later point in the meeting, when he again points out why is the video off, I replied to him saying you only ask me, you do not want to see my balding head. The situation was neutralized for that moment. We in office occasionally talk casually and joke around, but I feel that this kind of crossed the line. I have no control over my hairline and it's already affecting my life in several ways. I'm not hurt, but I felt that his remark was unnecessary and distasteful and should have no place in an office, even if he was trying to be friendly or something similar. What are you all's opinions on this? Should I draft a mail to him about this situation or let it go and act cool about it? 40-year-old surgeon says, keep video off. If questioned again, I understand why management prefers we keep video on, but that comes with a modicum of professional decorum, including not making disparaging remarks about the personal appearance of staff. If I tolerate this behavior, it becomes the norm and my colleagues will be subjected to this treatment as well. So, for now, I'll keep the video off. If upper management has questions about this decision, I'd be happy to explain the situation in greater detail. Thelonolf07 says, this I replied with the same point made, but in fewer words. Did the job. But would it be necessary to bring it to his further notice via a mail? We don't have an hours, it's just him, and few direct employees under him. A small but busy office. Fliracoon says. Yes, it's very important to send it to ours. This is a disgrace and you don't deserve comments like this at work. It's scaring to be degraded in public. Fresh Listen 5424 says. Boss is a jerk, no question there. Have you thought about changing the hardware you work on? If the wrench you were using to take apart the sink was too small, you would get a bigger one. If your laptop screen is so small you can't make out the things on screen without getting so close the video can't capture your head, you need a laptop with a bigger screen. Ricky Digits says. Was about to comment exactly the same thing. It's never okay to make fun of somebody in a work setting as far as I'm concerned, but having your face that close to the screen can't be a pleasant experience either. KX says. I would 100% report him to ours. Thelonolf07 says. I would definitely do that if we had ours. It's a very small establishment, so we tend to rely on direct communication. Nobody Important One says. As a fellow balding guy, I recommend owning your baldness. One day I decided it was normal and I stopped trying to hide it and people stopped commenting. Whitquid says. You mentioned that, to see the screen, you have to be too close for your full face to be seen. My legally blind teen has the same issue with video conferencing, so I'm curious as to if you have a visual impairment that necessitates being so close to the screen to see. The reason I ask is because, if that's the reason they're seeing your head instead of your face when your camera is on, then what your boss said constitutes harassment due to a disability and you should file a complaint with the EOC if it continues. r/antiwork. Fistant Antilus says. Life fed to me for years that I believed. At last place of employment, the CFO who was also in charge of it told me frequently that they were not giving raises every year because it would out me in a higher tax bracket and actually cost me money. This is in Canada BTW. I would earn less if I got a raise. She actually framed it as they were doing me a favor and saving me money and I believed it. I was doubtful at first, but I asked my dad and he said they were right. I should be thankful they cared so much. I had no reason so think they weren't truthful. So I lived with it for years. I asked an accounting person and they laughed at me. You only pay more on the taxable income earned in that specific tax bracket, he said. So I would pay 20% on the first 40k, 25% on 41k to 50k, but still only 20% on the first 40k, etc. So the raise would be hit at a higher rate, but only the amount of income within that specific band. I felt stupid. But my dad believed it too. So I asked him more questions and my dad said if you sacrifice everything for a company they will look after you. Trickle down economics will look after you, blah blah blah. So I stopped using my dad's business world advice anyway. Back to the lie, I did extensive research into what my salary should be based on my responsibilities, duties, ease of replacing me, years of knowledge etc. And then asked for it. Eventually was told what you are asking is what a warehouse manager makes and you aren't worth that. I said I'm the software developer, database administrator, tech support for 400 people, etc. Each of the positions gets X dollars each. All I was asking for is the salary bump to 1. They said I wasn't worth it. Then they started a campaign of making life miserable and intolerable. Ended up in hospital, but that is another story. I believed their lies that kept me from getting a raise. Then said I was worth it. Eventually, took way too long to get the courage to leave, left. They ended up paying more than 3 times my salary to replace me with 3 people who all earned more than I did there. Took them 6 months of seeing the $ amount gradually increasing every week in job ads. OK Reserve 6251 says. Jesus Christ. You deserve validation. So I'm gonna do it point by point. At last place of employment, the CFO who was also in charge of it told me frequently that they were not giving raises every year because it would out me in a higher tax bracket and actually cost me money. This is in Canada BTW, an outright lie. This isn't how it works. IDC, if they didn't know someone in a position of authority to give raises should know because it's their damn job and it affects people. CFO is a piece of shit. And I believed it. I was doubtful at first, but I asked my dad, and he said they were right. I should be thankful they cared so much. I had no reason so think they weren't truthful. So I lived with it for years. Yeah, this lie about how taxes work has been pushed by certain powers that be for a long time. All the older generations believe it. It's incredibly stupid. My dad is a smart man and told me the truth. I'm lucky there, but it sucks that so many blindly trusted people who clearly were purposely spreading a lie. I asked an accounting person and they laughed at me. You only pay more on the taxable income earned in that specific tax bracket, he said. So I would pay 20% on the first 40k, 25% on 41k to 50k, but still only 20% on the first 40k, etc. So the raise would be hit at a higher rate, but only the amount of income within that specific band. I'm gonna go ahead and bold all this so people here definitely see it. I felt stupid, but my dad believed it too. So I asked him more questions and my dad said, if you sacrifice everything for a company they will look after you. Trickle down economics will look after you, blah blah blah. Don't feel stupid. We all got this crap shoved at us, and they enlisted our own parents to sell us the lie too. This is why you don't get more conservative as you get older. Do not let them trick you into accepting their poison. Eventually, took way too long to get the courage to leave, left. They ended up paying more than 3 times my salary to replace me with 3 people who all earned more than I did there. Took them 6 months of seeing the $ amount gradually increasing every weekend. Job ads, and this highlights the ultimate truth none of your bosses want you to know. Being the boss doesn't mean jack shit. Most of them are dumb, and make terrible decisions. Very few people are actually equipped and of the right mentality to properly do a leader's job ethically, intelligently, and responsibly. Almost all bosses today, right now, suck at it and should be fired without a second look. Instead they just cover for each other cause they all know they all can't do the job. It's a simple truth. There are too many bosses and they all exist cause the rich asshole at the top is scared he isn't getting enough millions squeezed out of his dirty, shifty, greedy employees. As usual, the top projects their faults onto others. Next time don't let them put you in a hospital. Tell them to, off and get a new job, in whatever order you like. Remember, 2 weeks notice is a courtesy, not a requirement. They get notice if they treated you fairly at every step. Otherwise, find a new job and quit suddenly. If you're in the US, odds are at will employment laws protect you. So in short, do what's right for you, not your asshole. Correct Pipe 377 says. Oh yeah, the good old marginal tax rate. It works the same in almost every country. In us we have 7 marginal tax rates. You pay 10% of federal tax on money earned up to $11,000. You pay 12% of federal tax on money earned between $11,001 to $44,725. You pay 22% of federal tax on money earned between $44,726 to $95,375. You pay 24% of federal tax on money earned between $95,376 to $182,100. You pay 32% of federal tax on money earned between $182,101 to $231,250. You pay 35% of federal tax on money earned between $232,251 to $578,125. You pay 37% of federal tax on money earned on $578,126. So yeah, if you make $200,000 a year you don't pay 32%. You pay an effective rate of 21.42%. Not 32%. Fun fact, federal income tax for us was founded by Abraham Lincoln to pay for Civil War, and it was supposed to last 10. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.